The intelligence picture would always be the first part. What is this vessel? What is it carrying? Who's on board? What are they doing? Do we have jurisdiction here? If we do have jurisdiction and we do have a reason to board, how do we think we're going to conduct that? Where do we think our points of access are?
Primary and secondary points. So primary hook on point is going to be the port and starboard side. We want them, that is our primary, to get both of them at the same time. As soon as that foothold has been established, we're going to blow past via the port side as a team, as a troop, start moving all the way down to the bowels of the ship from that point onwards. The 19 packs on board, we're looking at 4 suspected enemy personnel on board.
In a bold operation in the dead of night, the Royal Marines homed in on an Iranian oil tanker.
Royal Navy sailors have seized 680 kilos of cocaine worth £100 million on board a speedboat in the Caribbean Sea.
Sailors and Marines from the ship joined other NATO vessels to intercept a dhow off the Somali coast.
Stacked together, the haul is quite something. 212 bales of cocaine, each weighing 26 kilograms.
There is a point during a boarding operation where everything's gone quiet, you're operating from a small boat, you're trying to get onto a super tanker, hoping that you don't get identified by the enemy. And you reach out and you grab a caving ladder to then pull yourself to the top. When you get to the top, you're then into a potential combat situation. It's phenomenally difficult. It's genuinely intimidating.
That moment, that transition from your craft to the ladder on their craft is probably the most exhilarating part of the role.
It has its dangers. It is inherently a dangerous task, especially at night in a high sea state. There is a threat there.
Boarding a ship underway, particularly at night, is one of the most dangerous things we do.
The ship's boarding operation will usually start at an intelligence phase or a collect phase. This is supported by usually a wildcat on station. They'll provide imagery that the commander conducts his estimate on and then brief the captain of the ship. The boarding team will embark the packs and approach the vessel. We'll conduct our recce, or depending on the threats, we'll either move straight onto target or we'll stand back providing fire support. Once the team are on board, the main effort is to get that tactical foothold on board the shipping platform to then clear through and conduct the rest of the operation.
So in order to facilitate us getting into that maritime environment, 4/7 Commando provide the boats, the coxswains and the expertise for actually getting alongside and the driving skill to allow our guys to do that dangerous transition from their craft to the ladder. We'll almost always take a wildcat helicopter with a maritime sniper attached, and that's not necessarily always to act as a sniper. Often their skill set as observers is as valuable, if not more valuable, than the sort of firearms protection that they can offer.
An elite soldier has to have an elite level of discipline. Everybody has to understand that when they're dealing with Royal Marines from 4/2 Commando, they're dealing with absolute professionals who will deliver against the task that they've been given every time.
So 4/2 Commando delivers maritime security operations, maritime interdiction operations. We conduct support and influence operations and joint personnel recovery for Commando forces.
Obviously every operation environment has its own specific or unique challenges. Maritime environment's no different. We've just had to adjust some of the ways that we work and some of the kit and equipment we use. A shorter barrel weapon system because you're moving in a confined space. an ambidextrous weapon system, because you need to be able to manipulate your weapon far more in that confined space. Body armour has been made buoyant so that if anybody does fall off or fall in, they're protected. Helmets are different because a conventional helmet, if you were to fall off and hit the water, will act as a sort of sea brake or an anchor and do huge damage to the neck and spine. So you have to have a helmet that can allow for that risk.
The Royal Marine boarding course is a 9-week course focusing on level 2 and level 3 operations. We conduct close quarter marksmanship training, vessel access including low vertical access and high vertical access. We also touch on methods of insertion such as fast roping and then the exploitation of a target vessel. Conducting boarding operations, you're generally working in small teams and you're disaggregated from your command back in the UK. That presents its own issues as commander.
There has to be a level of trust put in the individuals who are forward delivering in these complicated situations. Divorced from their normal chains of command, supporting unusual constructs all over the world, they're required to use their ingenuity, they're required to use their own integrity, they've got to have a strong moral and ethical basis, and at the same time, they have to be good at their jobs. It's why we need commandos doing this, because they are trained to such a high level that they can be trusted to deploy and deliver what the government of the United Kingdom and the fleet requires.
It could be an isolated personnel from a patrol that's gone missing. It could be, for instance, an aircraft that has gone down and we know where it is, but we need to go in and recover it.
Joint personnel recovery is the tactical recovery of aircraft, personnel and sensitive equipment. We're off the coast of Iceland on the USS Arlington and we're working with the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit. They're America's specialist trap teams, the JPR experts, so we're here to learn off them and help make ourselves an even more credible JPR force. So the worst case scenario in a JPR situation, deep behind enemy lines, the isolated person or sensitive piece of equipment has been captured or the enemy forces are enclosing on it. It will be a contested environment to get the person or piece of equipment back, which obviously makes it a lot harder, especially in an extreme weather environment. Because as soon as I get on the ground, I need to be looking for the isolated personnel because he could have moved, he could have been captured. So we'll be looking out for any signs on the ground, any evidence, pieces of kit that have been left behind, and looking out for any enemy threats. So one of the main dangers, especially out in these extreme environments, is the weather. It can change in a matter of minutes. For example, if a pilot's been shot down, all they've got is their flight suit, they're not going to survive very long. We need to get in there and get them out.
With the introduction of both the carriers, the Prince of Wales and the Queen Elizabeth, the F-35 jet is a very top secret piece of kit and equipment. So the so what of why we need that capability is because if an aircraft was to be shot down in a hostile environment, a hostile territory, where potentially some of our key adversaries could get their hands on this bit of equipment, they could turn the tides and turn the tables for future or potential future conflicts. By working alongside our key allies and key partners like the US, it means that we can come into complete synergy when we operate together. We then have this potent and formidable force that gives both the UK and our allies the confidence to operate in areas, knowing that they've got a joint coalition force that can come in and pull them out and recover them if something goes wrong.
The single big idea at the heart of FCF is a persistent presence forward across the world. Commandos delivering on behalf of defence globally. Commandos from 4-2 Commando are spread across the fleet, delivering boarding ops that see us providing counter-narcotics, counter-piracy and a range of other outputs directly for the Royal Navy on behalf of defence and the UK prosperity agenda. It's a phenomenally complex array of outputs that we deliver. It's an exciting time to be part of this unit.